If you're a photographer or an artist, or if you have any kind of business where your work is image-based, then you definitely need a website that will show off your work. Today I'll be showing you how you can create a sliding one-page image portfolio like this one using Thrive Architect. Hi, I'm Christine with Thrive Themes. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I invite you to do that, and if you ring the bell, you'll be notified when we publish new videos. So Thrive Theme Builder, which is our WordPress theme, and Thrive Architect, which is our page builder, they each come with several templates to help you build your website and landing pages quickly. But what if what you need for your website isn't offered in the form of a template? Well, rather than hiring someone to custom code your website or settling for a solution that maybe isn't really what you're looking for, I'd like to show you that if you're willing to get a little creative, you can build some really impressive designs on your own using the tools in the Thrive editor. So let's take a closer look at what we'll be creating today. So here we have a one-page website, and when we scroll up, the text on the right scrolls, and as we keep scrolling, that reveals another image. If we scroll further, then there's more text and another image, and then we have a contact form. And the button at the top of the page is a jump link that brings people to the form at the bottom of the page. All right, so let's create this sliding one-page portfolio website. So let's start by creating a new page. Let's give this page a name. And let's launch Thrive Architect. We're going to be using a completely blank page. All right, so let's start by creating one of the photo sections. So let's add a background section to our page. Let's go ahead and make the section minimum height 1000 pixels. Let's go ahead and turn off inherit width from landing page. And then to make sure that the elements inside of this background section will use the full width, let's turn on content covers entire screen width. Now to add an image to this section, let's go to the Background Style tab and let's add an image. Then to make sure that this photo will stay stationary as we scroll, let's turn on Static Background Image. All right, so now let's add a column to the right side of the page for our text. Let's go ahead and add the column element inside of the background section. Let's use the 2/3, 1/3 layout, and let's adjust this so that the right-hand column is approximately 25%. Now we would like the background color of the column on the right to be black, so let's select this column. Let's make sure that column is highlighted in the breadcrumbs, and let's go to the Background Style tab and let's add a black solid color. Now, because we know that all of the text elements inside of this column are going to be white, let's use the outside in principle and let's set the font color using the column container rather than having to edit each individual text element. This will save us a lot of clicking. So let's again make sure that column is highlighted in the breadcrumbs, and let's go to the typography tab and let's select the color to be white. If you would like to learn more about the outside in principle, we do have a video on that, which we will link below. All right, so next let's add some text inside of our column. And now let's adjust the size and the spacing. Now let's go to the Layout and Position tab, and let's go ahead and align this text element to the right. So let's go ahead and change the units here to percent. Percent is a relative value, whereas pixels is an absolute value. By setting the width of this text element to use percent, the element will scale according to the column width, which will help the design look a little bit better on different screen sizes. All right, so next let's adjust the padding for the text element. And next, let's add a border to 3 sides of this element. Now, to add a border on 3 sides, it's actually easier to add a border on all 4 sides and then take away the border on the one side that you don't want. So let's go ahead and go down to the Borders and Corners tab. Let's make sure that all 4 sides are selected, and let's add a border here. Let's select a color for our border. And now to remove the border on the right-hand side, we'll simply select the right side and make the border 0. All right, so to move this text element down and add a little bit of space on top of it, let's go back to the Layout and Position tab, and let's add a top margin. Okay, so this text element is done. Now you might want to add a text element beneath that just to explain a little bit more about what this is. So let's go ahead and add another text element. And let's adjust the padding and margin for this element. Next, let's make sure that the height of the column is going to match the height of our image. So let's select the column element. Then let's go to the Layout and Position tab, and let's go to Height, and we're going to set a minimum height of 1000 pixels. And then we can get rid of the space here at the top and at the bottom by adjusting the padding. All right, so now what we'll need to do is we'll need to select the background section, and we'll need to remove the 1 pixel padding inside of this element. Now, the 1 pixel padding is what allows you to select overlapping elements in the editor. The moment we remove this 1 pixel padding, we won't be able to select the background section by clicking in the canvas, but luckily we can still use the breadcrumbs. All right, so that is the basic setup for the photo sections. Now let's make sure that these sections are mobile responsive. So let's go to the tablet view. If you need to, you can also adjust the font size and the spacing. And let's take a look at the mobile phone view. And so in mobile phone view, these columns will appear stacked on top of each other. We can see that there is quite a lot of extra space here, so let's go ahead and reduce the height of the columns. So let's select the columns element, and let's go to Layout and Position, and let's reduce the minimum height. And then if you need to, you can adjust the margins and padding for these 2 text elements. And when you're finished with that, let's go back to the desktop mode. And that's basically it for these photo sections. So now all we have to do is select the background section, and let's duplicate it 3 times to get a total of 4 sections. And now all we have to do is replace the text and images for the other sections. So let's scroll down to the next section. I'll go ahead and select this background section. Then I'll go to the Background Style tab, and I'll replace this image. And let's go ahead and replace this text. All right, so let's do the same for the other remaining sections. All right, and so at this point, you'll have a page that looks like this. Next, let's create the contact form that's at the bottom of this page. Next, let's create the contact form that's at the bottom of this page. So let's hop back over to Thrive Architect, and let's add a background section. Let's make the background color for this background section black, so let's make sure that it's highlighted in the breadcrumbs. Then we'll go to the Background Style tab, and let's add a black background. And let's set the font color for this entire section to be white. So again, we're relying on the outside in principle to save us some clicking. So by assigning the font color here at the background section level, we won't have to select the color for individual elements inside of this background section. So let's go to the Typography tab, and let's go ahead and set this color to white. Now I know we're going to be adding some elements inside of this background section, so to make sure that there's enough space around those elements, let's go ahead and add in some padding. So let's go to the Layout and Position tab, and I'm just going to add about 80 pixels of padding on the top and bottom. Next, let's add some text inside of this background section. And let's add some columns beneath this text. One column is going to be for the image of the photographer, and the other column is going to be for the contact form. So let's go to the Add Element button, and let's click and drag the columns element into place. And let's select the 1/3, 2/3 layout. Okay, so next let's work on the image of the photographer. So let's go to the Add Element button, and let's drop the image element into the left-hand column. I'll choose this image. Now to make this image a round image instead of square, make sure that this image is highlighted in the breadcrumbs. Then let's go to Borders and Corners, and let's simply increase the corner radius for all 4 corners. Now square images, when you round all 4 corners, will become a circle. But if your image is a rectangle, then when you round all 4 of these corners, then you'll end up with an oblong shape. Next, let's add an icon to the bottom corner of this image. So let's go ahead and add the icon element, and let's drag it to right beneath the image. And let's search for the phone icon. This one looks good. And let's go to the Main Options tab, and let's make sure that the color is black. And let's change the style here, and let's go with a shaded icon. Now to get the background color of this icon to be white, let's go ahead and go to the Background Style tab, and we can actually get rid of this layer here, and let's go ahead and adjust this one, and let's make sure that this is a solid white with an opacity of 100%. Now this icon is looking a little bit large to me, so let's go ahead and change the size. That looks a little bit better, and then to position this in the lower left-hand corner of this image, let's go to Layout and Position. Let's go to the Advanced tab. Let's change the Z index to 5. That will make sure that it's layered on top of this image here. And then let's choose Absolute Positioning. And let's choose the top left corner. And then let's use the top and left fields to place the icon more precisely. Now, if you would like to add your phone number underneath this image, that's really easy to do. Let's go ahead and go to the Add Element button. Let's drag the text element into place. And then to add your phone number as a dynamic element, simply go up to the text floating bar, and there's the icon that looks like a stack of coins. So simply click on that icon. Then you can select your source, and we're going to select Global Fields. And in the second drop down here, under Company, we'll select Phone Number, and then click Insert. So for things like social media profiles and your company information, it's really handy to use global fields. What's really nice about global fields is that if any of your information changes, you can simply change it once in the Smart Site settings, and then it will automatically update everywhere else on your site. All right, so we are in the home stretch. Next, let's add a contact form to the right-hand column. So let's go to the Add Element button, and let's search for the contact form element, and I'll simply click and drag that into place. You do have quite a few options here to choose from. I'll go ahead and use this one. Next, we'll need to spend some time customizing this form. So let's go to the Main Options tab, and let's go ahead and switch the message and radio fields. Then if you need to, you can customize the colors for this form. And let's go ahead and edit the form elements. So starting with the name field, let's go ahead and edit this placeholder. And let's also do the same for the email field. Next, let's go ahead and work on the radio buttons. So we actually want to make sure that the radio field is selected. Let's go ahead and turn on Show Label. And let's go ahead and customize this text here. Then to add more radio fields, again, you'll need to make sure that radio field is highlighted in the breadcrumbs. Then in the Main Options tab, under Options, let's go ahead and add 2 more. And let's go ahead and edit the labels for options A and B. All right, so next let's move on to the text area here. Let's go up to the main options tab and let's go ahead and show the label. And let's customize the label. And let's also customize the text area placeholder. When you're finished editing your form, click Done to get out of the form editing mode. All right, so next, when this form is submitted, we want the answers to be emailed to us. So let's go ahead and add a connection. Under Choose Connection, let's select Email. And for the email delivery service, we do want to send emails from this site. And then you can click the Compose Email button to customize the email that gets sent to you. And then click Apply. Now, after someone submits this form, what do you want to happen? So after successful submission, let's go ahead and show a success notification. And then you can go ahead and customize this message. To see what this message looks like, you can simply click the Preview button. Next, let's work on a header for our page. So make sure that the page settings are highlighted in the breadcrumbs. Then let's go to the Main Options tab. And then you can click on the eye icon under Header to make the header visible. Now this header works just fine, but let's say we would like to create a whole new header just for this page. So let's click inside of this header section here, and let's go ahead and change the header. Let's go to Create a New Header, and let's go ahead and start with a blank header. Here it is. And let's name our header. Now from here, let's go ahead and click the Edit Header button. Now we do have some customizations that we'll need to make. First, let's go ahead and set the background color to white. Then let's go to the Scroll Behavior tab and let's set this to Sticky. That's so that as someone scrolls the page, the header will stick to the top of the screen. Then let's go to the Layout and Position tab and let's add a left and right padding of 20 pixels. Now the layout we are going for is a logo on the left and a button on the right. So let's go ahead and add columns to our header. I'll go ahead and choose the half and half layout. And let's go ahead and add the logo element to the left column. Now that's a bit large, so let's go ahead and adjust the size. And let's add a button to the right column. Now, if you would like to choose a different style button, you can absolutely do that by going to the paintbrush icon here. For example, we can select this one. And let's go ahead and choose a different color for our button. Now, I would like this button to be aligned to the right of this column. So under the Main Options tab, let's select Right Alignment. Now the header is a little bit too thick, so let's go ahead and adjust the padding and margins for the columns element. And let's also adjust the margins for this logo here. All right, so to change the text in this button, you can simply click and start typing. Next, when someone clicks this button, we want the button to bring them to the contact form at the bottom of the page. So let's make sure that the button is selected in the breadcrumbs. Then let's first go to the Animation and Action tab, and if there's a link here, you can go ahead and get rid of it. Then let's go to the Main Options tab, and under Button Link, let's go ahead and select Jump Link. Let's go ahead and select the target. So let's scroll down. And let's select the background section that contains our form. Then click the Add Jump Link button. And back under the Main Options tab, let's go ahead and select Smooth Animation so that when someone clicks this button, the page will scroll nicely to the bottom of the page. When you're finished customizing the header, you can click Done to get out of the Edit Header mode. Now the very last thing you'll have to do is make sure that this header looks good on all devices. So let's go down to the tablet mode and make sure that it looks all right. I think this looks pretty good. And then let's go to the mobile phone view. So we do have to make an adjustment here. So let's go ahead and click inside the header And let's go ahead and edit the header. Next, let's select the columns. And then to get the button up here next to the logo, simply click Wrap Columns to turn that off. And then if you need to, you can make some adjustments to the margins and padding. All right, so that was how to create a sliding one-page photography portfolio. Now, if you have any kind of business where you need to show off your work using images, this might be a fantastic solution for you. And as you saw, it's really not that hard to create once someone shows you how to do it. You can get Thrive Architect and the rest of our tools when you purchase Thrive Suite. Click the link down below to learn more. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.